Hujambo na karibu katika mazungumzo. Looking at what is going on in our streets, I've been thinking, what is going on and why is it going on? Politicians, church leaders, and all of us are asking, what's going on? Why now? Why are these young people coming up now? Where have they been all these years? It's a question that goes into the minds of many young people and also the old, the politicians and everybody. But in my thinking, I have identified a few things that I just want to share with you so that you understand the frustration that is in the minds of these young people. And that's why you see some of them, they are willing to die. I saw an interview of one young man who went into parliament that day, and he said, "Today is my birthday and I was ready to die today." I saw a young man saying, "If I die today, Mom, I died in the battlefield." They are ready to die. They are fearless, as they say. They are tribeless, as they say. They are willing to die. Why? Someone said, it's because they are dead already. They have no hope. They have no reason. They don't look forward for tomorrow. They have no jobs. They have no food in their tables. They are living a very difficult life. To the leaders, to the police, I just want to say, these young people are hopeless. They are willing to die. The question is, how many will die in your hands? How much blood are you willing to shed as a leader? Because these young men, they are willing to die. They are hopeless. But why are they hopeless? Remember, I did another video, and you can check on these other streams up here. And I was talking about the young people, who they are. Who are these Gen Zs? And I did tell you, just briefly, who I gave you an analysis of all the generations. And Gen Zs did come up. Gen Zs, or Generation Z, also called Generation Tech. They're called post-millennials. They're I generation. They're Generation Wi-Fi. They're Zoomers too. Those are all their names that you can call them. I know right now we know them as Generation Zs, which is fine, but they're also called Generation Tech, post-millennials, I generation, Generation Wi-Fi, and Zoomers. Now, these are young people, and their lives have been shaped with a number of things. One of them is smartphones. These are kids at the age of 10, they were handling phones. They knew what is Wi-Fi. They knew what is the internet. They knew how to scroll and post and do everything. These are smart kids. They were born, and at a very young age, they had phones with them. In addition to the phones, they had social media with them. Now, there is social media. That means the globe is opened for them. They're able to know what's going on at any particular moment, anywhere in the world. They grew up at a time when there was war everywhere. That the fact that they have never lived in a nation that is not at war. We either dealing with some form of disasters, either natural, climate, man-made wars. They have known war everywhere in their lives. But the other thing that shapes this young generation's way of life is the hardship they have seen their parents go. They have witnessed their parents' financial hardships. They have seen their parents go to bed without food. They have seen their parents lose their jobs. They have seen their parents tell them no. They have been sent away from school because of school fees. They have been told no by their dad and mothers because they don't have. They have lived in a generation where they have witnessed the hardship of their parents. They know what that means. Something else important to know about Generation Z is that these are young people who are very interested in personal finance. It's a generation that is keen about money. And that their goal, the goal of this Generation Z, is to be able to know or learn more and meet their financial goals. These are young members of the generation are creating saving accounts than previous ones. They have a great desire to learn more and more about personal finances. Now, hold it right there. I'll tell you that these young people, as much as they want to learn about personal finances, they have been educated too. These young people have been educated. They have gone to school. They know what is income and they know what is an expenditure. They know revenue and they know expenditure. Back in the day when I remember we used to have the finance bill every year, the interest of the people was not as much as it is today. They were careful to hear what has been lowered in terms of taxes, what has changed in terms of taxes. They were looking for the gains. People tuned to hear what the Minister of Finance will say that will benefit them, just the gains. Many people never questioned the expenditure side of the budget. Very few people could ask, what are you spending this money on? You want to raise more, fine, but what are you spending it on? Now, these are questions that this Generation Z, together with some of the millennials, are asking that, yes, you want to raise funding, you want to finance this budget, but what is in the budget? And remember, the devil is in the details, and over the years, we have not had a generation that looks into the details that are in the budget. The other thing is that in that budget, one thing that has been there is that we have debt. And it's true, our debt is very, very high. Very, very high. And these young people have lived to be told we are going up and up in our debt every day. And they are told this funding is for their development. But when they open their eyes, they don't see that development that they have been told over the years. They see the hardship of their parents. They see there is no development. And therefore, they ask, what were these loans that we took? So there is the expenditure side. And just having a line in the expenditure that says you are paying debt, they go ahead and ask, which debt? Who took the debt? What did the money do? These are the young people. These are the questions that they're asking. And so I beg to submit unto thee, why are the young people in the streets? What exactly is fueling the anger? What exactly is fueling the courage that these young people have to walk into the streets, to walk into bullets and be willing to die? Now, just an explanation of who Gen Z is hopefully helps you understand who we are dealing with. Now, I said these young people have been educated. They have gone to school. They have learned. They have known what is an income, what is expenditure, what is revenue. They know what makes up the income statement, most of these young people. And their desire is to get out of the financial crisis and somehow make it in life. But they're looking at a government that is not enabling that to happen. And so they ask, what do we do? So they have been educated and there are no jobs. They are informed, they can see, they can read, they can ask why. They are informed to that level. Okay, that's number one. Number two is that there are no jobs for them. Unemployment rate is very high. Getting a job has been so difficult. It's either you know someone who knows someone, they're a family member, and if it's not your family member, then you need to give something in return. You need to give sexual favors, and I've heard of so many young people who go for interviews only to receive a call from the manager to be the boss and say, hey, can we meet for dinner? Can we know each other? They're all about sexual advances that our employers make. But again, I'll talk about that some other time. But also, government positions that do open up, they need money. Someone tells you, I was told I need 250, I need 150,000, I need 400,000 to get a job. And some people have gone to an extent of doing that. They have sold their land, they have given all their savings for them to secure a job in the government, only for them not to get the job. I'm saying this for you to understand the pain of the young people. There are no jobs in the private sector. They have to know someone or someone. The pay is so low, but also most of them, managers in those positions, do make sexual advances. They need money and stuff like that. It's difficult to get a job in Kenya. Now, those are jobs that are there, but also we know industries have closed. There are no new jobs that are being created. And that is a problem right there. You're dealing with people who are educated, they can read, they can see, they're informed, they can question, they're unemployed, no jobs for them. They are so interested to get out of the trap of financial distress. They want to do better than their parents. They want to do better than us millennials who came ahead of them. They have seen the struggles and they look for a better future and they don't see it. And so they ask, how can we get there? Now, something else that has fueled these protests is the poor service from the public services. Now, I'll speak of a few things that I've witnessed. And I'm saying this because I know it. I've witnessed it. Now, one of it is these young people we know. Most of them, they're very, very young. They're 22, 23, 24, 17, 18, 19. Most of these young people came out of school and they even don't have their IDs. Why? The government is not producing their IDs. There's so many theories about that. There's a court case, there's supplies, there's that and that. All those sort of things. Whichever institution that is mandated to make sure these kids get their IDs needs to get that going. Now, these are young people frustrated. They don't have an identity card. They cannot get a job. That is something that hits them straight to their heads. You don't have an ID. Why? The government cannot produce your ID on time. And if you need it today, I need 1,000 shillings, I need 2,000 shillings, I need 5,000 shillings to get your ID tomorrow. They have to pay to get it. It's the same thing with the passports. There's so many theories, all the machine, all supplies, or do that. You want these young people to go out of the country, but they cannot get their passports. Basically, the system is down. Passports cannot be printed. There's a backlog because of a machine. There's a backlog because supplier has not supplied the booklets. Hey, I hear you. Explanations do make sense. But whoever is mandated to do these things, it clearly shows lack of planning. And this contributes to the frustration that we see on these young people. It has been a requirement in most of the embassies when you go for an interview or even some jobs interviews, you're required to go with a certificate of good conduct. And you can only get this from the government agencies that have that authority to give you one. Interesting enough that it takes forever to get it. And if you want it right now, you have to give someone 10,000 shillings, 20,000 shillings, 5,000 shillings, depending on how soon you want it. Friends, it's not encouraging. And so we ask, why are these young people out here? It's because the things they want, even as simple as a birth certificate, for those of them that did not get it at birth, it's a challenge to get it. These are services that touch on them directly. They have lived a life where they struggle to have lunch in school. They have struggled to go through education in school, in high school and in college. Some of them have not made it to college, but they cannot get an ID. They cannot get a passport. They cannot get a good conduct. They cannot get a birth certificate. These are things that should not be there. I want to speak of something else, the church. Growing up, I was born and brought up in the church. And I could see the church speak from time to time of things that are affecting the young people. I could see the church speak and people could listen. But over the years, that has changed. The church has been turned to a place where politicians buy legitimacy. They come to church with money and give it to the pastor. They give pastors gifts, and therefore the church is compromised by itself. But the worst part is that the very same pastors do go ahead and quote unquote brainwash the members. And therefore the politician has the pastors, has the bishops in their pockets, and the bishops do the job of brainwashing the people to follow what the politician is saying. The church has lost it. And I say this with a lot of pain because I am a Bible student, but I'm also a teacher of the same. And it pains me that most young people will walk away from the church because the church has lost its voice. The church has lost its moral ground of speaking truth to power and speak sense, be the voice of reason to those that are in power. Urge my fellow clergy that, hey, let's look closely into ourselves and ask, where did we go wrong? Mswahili atakwambia kwa kitabu cha Yeremia ni kwamba simameni katika njia kuu, mkaone mkaulize habari za mapito ya zamani. Iwapo ipo njia iliyo njema, enendeni kwayo, nanyi mtajipatia raha nafsini mwenu, la sivyo mtajipata mashakani. Ndivyo anavyosema wachungaji. Most of us blind, and so we go ahead and lead blindly the rest. I speak that of pain to the church. Lastly, I said it earlier on in my other video where I was asking myself, is Ruto's government more corrupt, less accountable than all previous regimes? I tend to differ. It is the same. Nyani ni wale wale. Msitu tu ndio ukabadilika ukawa UDA. Nyani ni wale wale. Kenya Kwanza, Azimio. Nyani ni wale wale. Msitu tu ndio tunabadilisha kila wakati, kila kuchao tunabadilisha ule msitu, but nyani ni wale wale. Ufisadi ni ule ule. Tofauti katika serikali hii ni kwamba tunajionyesha. We are corrupt. We steal in broad daylight, and we show it off in the way we live, where we go, what we have. We show it off. We brag it. We rub it on our people, and they can clearly see that this one is enjoying my money. These are my points. This is what I think is fueling the rage, the anger, the courage, the spirit of this young people, Generation Z. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This is the voice of reason. Thank you.